Hey guys, it's Janelle Nail Gun Nelly, and I am back with another Tools 101 video for you. We are going to talk about a tile wet saw. It may be slightly intimidating to most people. They're extremely loud, but I promise they're not that much different than any other saw. The main difference is that they use water and a different style blade, and actually it's a lot safer because it isn't going to cut you. So just as a reminder, this is very basic knowledge. I'm just doing like Tools 101 intro to the different parts, setup, and how to use it. And I am currently using the RIDGID 10-inch wet saw. It's a portable saw on a stand. You never want to be on the ground with a tile saw, just like any other saw for safety purposes. And so we are going to go through all the basics and get you more knowledgeable with this tool. Let's get to it. So this is going to be a pretty basic video just showing you how to easily use a tile saw, give you some general knowledge. This is the 10-inch portable tile wet saw that is from RIDGID. It has a laser so that you can get a straight line. This is the water reservoir. Here is the button for the water and the power button to turn the saw on. This particular model is a portable one that comes on wheels, and you can lift it up there to easily move it, but I'm not really going to get into that because you can have tabletop saws, and I just want you to feel comfortable with what the basic functions are. If you look at the blade, it looks just like a miter saw. Although this is the difference. This blade is not like, it doesn't have the teeth marks like a normal blade would. This is diamond plated, and basically you can even touch, I mean, I'm not going to tell you to touch this, but it is safe to touch this when the saw is going. Like, it basically grinds the tile to cut it. And so this is not a sharp edge. You can touch it, and that is how it cuts tile. The other difference between a tile saw and a normal miter saw is the need for water. So this bottom portion, you fill up with water, and then once plugged in, you can see over here, this little tube funnels up and will drop water on top of your saw as it's going. You have a separate button for that so that you can turn it on and off. I usually like to turn it on right before I make my cut and then turn it off right after. The button right here is the power button, and that is the water power button. Let me plug this in and show you how it works. So when you go to set up your tile saw, you need power, obviously. So get an extension cord that is appropriate, and usually with my extension cords, I will loop them together and then plug them in, just so that if I were to pull on this, it's not just going to pull it out of the plug. And because tile saws have water, water and electricity don't mix very well, so I just like to make sure that this area is either like propped on a bucket or just somewhere where there's no water. I'm gonna fill up this basin next, and then I'll show you how to work it. So say you needed to change the blade. This right here is how you get to it. So you loosen this up, and then you can open it, and this is where the blade is. So I'm not going to change it because it's a whole step, and you need, basically it's just like changing a miter saw blade. You just need a wrench, and you untighten it, take it off, put the new one on, put it on. This right here, you can kind of see, this is where the water comes from. And so as you turn it on, it'll drip out here. This is a 5-gallon holding water tank area. And this is like a sponge filter so that clumps don't get sucked up. You can see the tube is down in there, the water reservoir, and it comes around, feeds up the back of this arm, goes around, and then it came through from the back to right here, and it is in here and exits right here. So filling it up, I mean, take a hose. I don't want to disconnect this, so basically you're gonna fill it up. Wow, I'm really making a mess. So as I'm filling it, you can see water comes into this area, and this is the sponge that goes in this spot right here. It goes in this spot right here. So I'm going to wedge it in right here and right there. This is where it sits. There's a little ledge there and there. And that is just to prevent stuff from getting sucked up into the pump. You can also see right here, it shows you the max fill. So I just want to be able to show you how it pumps and cut maybe a couple tiles. So I'm going to stop there. If I was doing a whole entire job, I would probably just fill it up to here so I don't have to worry about it. So now I'm going to turn it on here, and you'll see water. It will eventually come out of here. So this is the stream of water, and it's basically, as this spins, going to make sure that your blade does not get overheated. And it also lubricates the tile to make it easier. So you can stop it and then restart it. So usually what I do is just before I'm ready to cut the tile, I'll pop on the water, see a few drips, and then I'll put my cut. So I'm going to turn this off, but basically I just wanted to show you how it gets the water, and that goes on there. So I'm going to close up this because we're not planning on changing the blade. Now we have the fence. I believe that's what it's called. So you can use this to move your tile. This right here, you would loosen it, and now this can come up and down. I keep mine here, and I usually just keep it locked there. If you want to keep this in a locked position, you can see right here, you basically, down is locked. This allows me to move it, but if I want it to stay locked, I can't move it past that. So this isn't going to let me push it forward, but if I want to be able to, you just pick this up, pull it out, and pick it up, and it basically allows me to go farther. If you want to do a 45-degree or some sort of bevel cut, you do have to change the position of the blade. So let's go over that. You can see how this is for your straight cuts. This would be for the 22.5 cuts, and this would be for your 45s. So like general corners, you're gonna need a 45. But in order for the blade to be able to have enough room, you have to give it a bigger gap. You can see here, this is a smaller gap and it's straight. This allows the room for the blade. It's thicker here, so it gives more room for this, the blade, and then it gets thicker down here, so the blade has room to pass through. Okay, if you come around to the back of the saw, so you're gonna need to loosen this from the down position, so that's that knob. And then you can see here, just like on a miter saw, you loosen this to be able to create a 22.5 or a 45-degree angle. So you just loosen that and then push it over and secure it where you want. So you can see now that it's locked in this position, when you go down to make your cut, you can see when you move your fence up, it's going to be in the correct placement so that you have room for your blade. So that's a 45-degree, and you can see on the back, they're marked. It's at the 45-degree angle. And if you want to go to a 22.5, you move it over until this little red line is at that line. Tighten it. Oops, wrong way. And then a 22.5-degree. Last thing before I move on is this one has a laser. So you can see it on my hand right there. You can see the laser, and it runs down right here so that you make sure you have a straight line. So other than the actual tile wet saw, you probably should get some ear protection. I'm borrowing these from my son because I can't seem to find mine. And glasses, because trust me, you do not want any porcelain ceramic shards in your eyeball. There's a bee and I don't want it to come to me. Oh, that doesn't look normal. That looks like a wasp. Go away. You also are going to need, obviously, your tile. So let me walk you through the basic steps. I promise you're going to feel comfortable to do this on your own after this video. You're first going to want to mark your tile. Because this is just for a demonstration, I'm just going to cut on this line. But you would mark your tile. And then you can see how there is a red line. So I am going to want to line my black mark with the red line. And I can see the blade is going to be perfect right there. Now let's make our cut. So you always want to make sure the water's on. It's on. Have your safety on, and then just press power. And then when I'm done, I turn that off. So I didn't cut all the way through because I am in my garage and not set up appropriately. And I don't want to make a mess because it will shoot out. Like you can see all of this. You want to make sure that whatever's behind you, like in this area, that you don't care if it gets nasty. Because if you're cutting a lot of tile, it will get this chalky water out behind it. So I just wanted to demonstrate that's all you do. You push it through, you cut it. It's a clean cut, and that's it. So your tile is going to be wet. You want to dry it off, especially depending on the application. I know that if you use muscle bound, you definitely want to make sure they are all very dry. But then you are ready to install. Okay, the last thing. I know I said it was not dangerous, but you really want to see? I'll show you. I'm going to turn it on and touch the blade. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just showing you. Don't be scared. Once again, thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something valuable from this. Leave any questions in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer them all. I'd love if you'd subscribe to my channel and let me know what kind of Tools 101 video you would like to see, and maybe that'll come out next week. We'll see you next time.